Come on, England, you're not alone. We're all behind you, we're cheering from our homes. We're going all the way. We're going all the way.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Stand Your Ground. I'm your host, as always, Alex Bennison. I'm joined by one half of the Matty White's podcast, Jack Robshaw.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad. It's finally here. We're what, just under 25 hours to the Euros kicking off.
Yeah, it's good. Any summer that doesn't have a tournament feels like a bit of a wasted summer, unless the Ashes is like really good. It's great to have football over summer, and it's great to have football over the summer when beer gardens and stuff are back open.
Yeah, we're finally getting back to a bit about normality. Feels like 2018 again.
Although you say 2018 again, I mean, I feel a bit older than that. I know it's only been 3 years, but I feel about 12 years older.
That's what having a child will do to you.
Very true.
Before we do get into any Euro talk, thanks to Adam Crockett for the England song, Come On England, that's our new intro just for this Euro special. If you want to listen to the full song, it's available on YouTube, or you can go to adamcrockett.hearnow.com if you want to buy the full single. Yeah,
it sounds decent. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say it's Free Lions, but it sounds pretty good.
So when we last did an episode, because we missed the weekend this week, England had a 33-man squad, but this time we do have the full 26-man squad. I'm going to flash what was originally the 26-man squad up on the screen. We've got Dean Henderson, Sam Johnson, and John Pickford as the keepers, which I think we all kind of expected.
Yeah, there wasn't once once Pope got injured, it was pretty much nailed on that those were the three.
Yeah, and to be honest, out of the two friendlies that we've just played, Sam Johnson's had a bloody blinder.
He did well. He played well, and he made that one world-class save. And when you're a goalkeeper, especially in a game like that where you shouldn't, I mean, he got called into action more than he probably should have. But if you make one amazing save, that's all you need to push it from like a 6.5 out of 10 to an 8.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me about our three goalkeepers is none of them are that tall.
I mean, I've said for ages, just purely keeping the ball out the goal probably is the best one. But for the way England play, those are decent options to have. And Pickford, unless he gets injured, Pickford will play every minute.
Yeah. So the defence, obviously the first name that's there, Trent Alexander-Arnold, pulled up with an injury in his first friendly. I believe it's a hamstring that he's got that's apparently about 4 to 6 weeks, which pulled him out of the tournament. So he's been replaced with Ben White. We've got Ben Chilwell, Connor Cody, Reece James, Harry Maguire, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, and Kyle Walker.
It's solid enough. Obviously, even without Trent, the right back options are incredibly strong. I was very much pro Ben White being the person called in because I look at those centre backs. Maguire's not fit. Mings, I don't think he's that good, to be honest. Connor Cody, I only like in a free. John Stones is good, but has a howler in him. I think because Harry Maguire's not fit, I think if I'm picking team for Croatia, I honestly think Ben White's in it.
Well, Harry Maguire did return to full training today.
I don't think he'll be fit for the opener.
No, I definitely don't think he'll be fit. And to be honest, off that Romania friendly, I think Ben White probably was the smartest call because Tyrone Mings had a few iffy moments against Romania, and you can't have that in a major tournament.
Yeah, like Mings, it depends. Mings is a bit up and down. Like Tyrone Mings, sort of, what will it have been about 18 months ago, maybe? when he was in really good form. At that point, he was looking like every bit like an international centre-back, but I don't think he has been recently.
No. I do feel a bit sorry, though, for Trent, because I think he really had something to prove coming into these Euros, because he'd had such stick for the season that he'd had until the back end of it. I felt like if he'd have had a decent Euros, they would have forgotten about the Premier League season.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not even like he had a bad season in the Premier League. It just wasn't as ridiculous as the previous season. He, he didn't have his best one, but he's a world-class player, is Trent Alexander-Arnold. So it's a shame missing a tournament. You never want someone getting injured on the verge of it. But if we were going to get an injury, I'm glad it was a right back.
Yeah.
Because at least we've got Thor in the squad, and there's another 2 or 3 sat at home who are all good enough to play international football. So
yeah. So in midfield, I think this ends up looking worse than what it really is, because let's be honest, probably three of the forwards can fill into that midfield role. But we've got Jude Bellingham, Jordan Henderson, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, and Declan Rice. Jordan Henderson, you can fuck off. I can't believe you took that fucking penalty off Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
I mean, that wasn't great, especially for someone who's meant to be a senior player. But with the amount of time Henderson's been out, even if even though he is fit as in he can play, I don't think he's going to be fit at any point in this tournament, even if England were to go all the way. So, fully fit Jordan Henderson absolutely starts. This Jordan Henderson, I think he's very lucky to be in the squad.
Well, we'll get onto starting formations when we come to the Croatia game. But the forwards of Calvert-Lewin, Foden, Grealish, Kane, Rashford, Saka, Sancho, and Sterling. I think Sterling looks incredibly lucky to be in that into that attacking role. I don't know whether he starts a game at this tournament.
He might start him because Southgate has his players that he trusts, and Sterling is one of them. Sterling's another one who is definitely, of course, he's good enough. Everyone knows he is. But his form this last few months has not been great. Like the Man City fans, obviously at Man City he is being compared to other really top quality players. But so many of them cannot believe the number of minutes he's been getting given his form. I mean, you look at that forwards list and you are right. Like, a lot of those forwards aren't forwards. They're attacking mids, and then they can play on the wing. I mean, Saka might play fullback at some point in this tournament. He's in as a forward. But there's so much talent, especially wide forwards. There's so much talent in that role. The problem is you can only get maybe 3 of them on the pitch at the same time as a maximum. And it's an unbalanced squad, but in fairness, that's because we have unbalanced options in terms of top quality players.
So what do you think about the rumours of, in training, Southgate's been playing around with the back 4 and he's looking at playing Luke Shaw as a centre-back?
But here's one thing. I'm going to level with you. I've had one of those days today where I've barely had time to look at anything. I have seen that story. I didn't realise it was in a back 4. I assumed it was left centre-back in a back 3, to be honest. Because that I could sort of get my head round, especially given the main left-sided option would be Mings, and he hasn't looked good. So that I could have understood. Luke Shaw does not want to be playing centre-back in a 2.
Yeah.
Like, at all. That would not be a good idea. Like, obviously, I don't like Cody in a 3, but I'd prefer him to Luke Shaw as a centre-back. I'd definitely have White as a centre-back over Shaw. Maguire's not going to be fit, but Stones, definitely. Like, it is a weird one, that. I mean, I suppose it gives them a way to get... I mean, it would allow him to play Chilwell and Shaw, but as much as they're both good players, you just pick one.
Yeah. The BBC, as they normally do, they run a prediction poll for people to put in who they would take to the Euros. And I've got the list of their 26-man squad that came out of the BBC poll. obviously you've got to take into consideration that Pope is now injured and
As is
Alexander-Arnold's injured. Yeah. But the names that kind of jump out, the two that missed out, Greenwood pulled himself out of the squad even before the cuts were made, but I don't reckon Southgate was going to take Greenwood anyway. And Jesse Lingard as well missing out.
Yeah, Lingard, I mean, 6 months ago, Lingard wouldn't have made he'd have been like Eric Dyer, he wouldn't have made a squad of 150. But he has turned back into Jesse Lingard from a few years ago, just by playing and getting some confidence back. And by the sounds of it, he's sorted out some stuff in his private life that wasn't great for him on the pitch. Lingard is a bit unlucky, but I can, as much as you do pick players on form, if it comes down to it and you've got a player who's been playing well for 2.5 years and a player who's been playing well for 6 months, I can understand you going with the one who's done it long term. Especially for an attacking midfielder, which we've got loads of.
Yeah. So we're going to get into this. This is going to be a difficult thing because everybody has put the 2 cents in about who they think should be the starting 11 for England's first game against Croatia on Sunday. Obviously, there's a bit of history there. They knocked us out in the semi-finals for 2018. They stopped us from going to the Euros 2008, I think it was, under McLaren. And since we've played them once since we beat them in the Nations League. But what formation actually are you playing against Croatia?
You said, honestly, because of Bielsa, I was going, right, what do they play? Right, they play with one central striker, so it's a back four, but that's not how Southgate works. that's how Leeds work. It's like, they're roughly 4-2-3-1, so we're 4-1-4-1, but that's not how it works. No, I would be a 4-3-3 because I'd only pick one sitting midfielder. But
I'm exactly the same.
But I think that it will be, if it's a back four, I think it'll be 4-2-3-1 and he'll pick 2 relatively sitting midfielders. Even if it isn't Rice and Phillips, which is what I think it probably will be, I think he'll have 2 sitting. But if I'm picking for me, 4-3-3.
Yeah, if I were picking, I'd be picking 4-3-3 and I'd let Rice have that holding midfield role by himself. And I'd have...
I know it's weird. Obviously, as a Leeds fan, I love Calvin Phillips. But because of the way England play, I don't actually think it matters much whether you play Rice or Phillips. Whichever one you pick, I'm absolutely fine with. I think they're both really good at it. If it's a 2, then you have to play them both because then Rice can sort of bugger off a bit and leave Phillips to cover.
Yeah. We've got a comment here from Archie. The good old 4-3-3, Italy's favourite formation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've looked very strong coming into the Euros, but we will talk about the other teams in a bit when we come on to our predictions for the tournament. Yeah, in my opinion, I think it should be Rice as the holding midfielder and the 2 playing just in front of him. I really think we should go all out attacking and I'd play Foden and Grealish as 2 attacking midfielders.
I don't think you can play them both in centre mid. I would, if I'm playing 2 sort of number 8 style midfielders in front of Rice, Mount and Bellingham for me.
Oh no, I've said Grealish. I meant Mount and Foden. but either way,
Mount and Foden would work a bit better. I'm really, someone's going to miss out who shouldn't. Because someone's going to play on the left and there should be there's 3 different people I want there. But yeah, we sort of skipped over the defence. We'll go back to it in a sec. But yeah, my midfield 3 in a 4-3-3, I think it's Rice or Phillips, but I'm okay. I'm fine with it being Rice. He's also not had the injury at the end of the season like Phillips has. And then Mason Mount and Jude Bellingham. Bellingham is more of a standard 8 shuttling around. Mount's the one with the freedom to really kick on.
Yeah, the thing for me is in that midfield, I do like Bellingham and I know he's playing at a top level now and he's getting games week in, week out for Dortmund. But I would have really liked to have seen Ward-Prowse go. And I think Ward-Prowse, Mount and Rice would have been a really good midfield and then a danger just for free kicks alone. Like the set pieces that he were putting in against Romania, it was just screaming. Can you imagine 2018 slabhead on the end of a Ward-Prowse free kick?
Yeah. Ward-Prowse is a bit unlucky. You know, obviously he's a really good player. The thing with Ward-Prowse is I don't think he wouldn't get in ahead of. I don't think. I mean, given what I said earlier with fitness, I probably would have taken him over Henderson, only because of fitness. But like just picking a player because he's really good at set pieces, as much as it is very useful, we have got a lot of players in that side who are very good at set pieces. They're just not quite as good as Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
Is it 5 subs at the Euros or is it 3?
I believe it's gone back to classical just 3, but I think if it goes to extra time, you're allowed to make 5.
Yeah, you get an extra one because you see, if you got 5, I can understand having a player on your bench who is just, you know, he's really good at set pieces. You need a goal. There's 5 minutes left. You'll probably still have a sub left over to go for that move. If it's only 3, you don't really have the room to do it.
Yeah. So we'll go back then. Goalkeeper, I think you've already stated that you think Pickford will play every minute.
Yeah, and I think he should. His form for Everton wasn't very good earlier this season, but late in the season it was much, much better. And he's never let England down.
Yeah. As much, I do like Pickford for England. I don't like him in the Premier League, but I do like him for England. I genuinely think, even though he's played for the worst team out of the 3 of them, I think Sam Johnson does just look. He just looks a decent keeper, and I think he could be rivaling Pope going forward. I don't think Dean Henderson's played enough to be able to warrant starting in the Euros.
Yeah, I'd say I can't see. I would go Pickford, and I can't see any way it isn't.
Yeah. So I think we both said we are playing a back 4. Right back, you've got your option of 3. Who are you picking as your right back?
It's tough when you look at this because they are all good players, but I'd pick Reece James. I really rate Reece James. Even back, it was when he was on loan at Wigan, and we played him a couple of times, obviously with him there, and he just, as soon as you saw him on the pitch, you were like, "Oh, you shouldn't be anywhere near this division. You could play, you could play for Chelsea tomorrow." Like, it wasn't even close. And he's better now than he was then. And he was brilliant then. Like, I always remember laugh with Wigan when he was there in Championship. Because he played right back for about 5 games. And they went, "Oh, you're the best player by a mile. Can you just play centre mid?" So we can get more out here. But yeah, Walker, I would be absolutely fine with. Trippier, I'd be absolutely fine with. You know, they're good players. But I'd just give the nod to Reece James.
I think he'll play Trippier, if I'm honest.
He does love Trippier. So much so that he plays him at left back.
I think if Harry Kane gets injured, it's not Calvert-Lewin, it's probably Trippier up front. I think this is probably what Trippier's final tournament with England. I don't know if he makes it to the World Cup next year.
I mean, he's only 30.
I know he's only 30, but you've got to think with James coming through, Alexander-Arnold coming through, there's talks that Wan-Bissaka is going to transition into a centre-back, so there's a possibility that Wan-Bissaka comes through.
Yeah, that is true. There is young ones, and obviously, even though he's actually older than him, you know, we've got another year of Luke Ayling under Bielsa to be even more of a world beater than he already is. With Trippier, it depends because I do think he's going to move this summer. I think he'll go, right, I've gone out to Spain, proved myself in another league, we've won the league. I think I'm good to come back now. So it depends where he goes and how much he plays. Well,
that's the rumour, is that Solskjaer's looking at bringing in Trippier to play right back so that he can move Wan-Bissaka into centre back next to Harry Maguire.
Not the worst idea.
No, not the best tackling fullback in the league decides to become a centre back.
Yeah.
He's not going to win. He's not going to win many headers for you, but he'll definitely get a decent amount of tackles in.
I don't think he's not terrible in the air, and he'd get better at it. The one thing with Wan-Bissaka is he works his bollocks off, so I'd back him to get better.
Yeah. We'll come back to the centre backs. We'll go over to the left back. You've only got two to pick from. Is it Shaw or is it Chilwell?
No, it's Bukayo Saka. No, I'm kidding. It's although I don't hate him there. He's okay. He's all right as backup. This is one of them. Genuinely, I am perfectly fine with either. But I think I'd against Croatia, because for a decent side, I think I'd just go for Shaw. But there's so little in it. I'm absolutely fine with either him or Chilwell.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of who plays on the right for him, because I know Cerna's not there to play right back. I think Vasalko still plays right back for him, so he's not typically a right back that bombs forward a lot. So Shaw will probably get away with doing his overlapping runs down that left-hand side a lot more against Croatia. Whereas I think Luke Shaw's tracks back a lot better than what Chilwell does. Chilwell's better going forward, but I think Shaw tracks back a lot more. I think he works a bit harder.
Yeah, I'd be fine with either in either situation because they're both good going forward. But I think against Scotland and Czech Republic, I think I'd be just giving the edge to I'd just give the edge to Chilwell, but for this one, Shaw. Down that side, they'll have Vajalko. I think it'll be I'm not actually sure exactly what they've been picking because they've had a few injuries and stuff, but it might well be Rebic, and Rebic is more he's not like pace and trickery, he's just a good all-round forward. So I think Shaw just.
Yeah, I think Rebic actually has been playing as a lone frontman for him.
Yeah. I was thinking that they might pick that Petkovic. But I'm not sure. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the Croatians other than their midfield being unbelievably good.
Yeah, it's one midfielder less this year, obviously, because there's no Rakitic.
No, but a midfield three of what will it be? Brozovic and Kovacic, and then Modric.
Yeah,
it's pretty solid.
Yeah, and Perisic out on the left as well.
Yeah.
So centre-back wise, I think this is the hardest decision for Southgate to make, is to pick either 2 or 3 centre-backs.
If it's a 2, I don't think this is what will happen, but if it's a 2, Stones and Ben White.
Yeah.
But I don't think that will happen. It's weird because he played a 4 in both the friendlies. Before those friendlies, I was completely convinced he was going to pick a back 3. Before those friendlies. And it'd be very weird if he hasn't picked a back 3 and then does in the first game. But that doesn't mean he's going to do it.
Didn't want to show his hand.
But yeah, if I'm picking John Stones and Ben White, the only problem is both of them are more comfortable playing on the right-hand side, which is why I think it will be Stones and Mings.
Yeah. I reckon it'll probably be Stones and Mings. I genuinely, part of me, until you said both of them play on the right, I would have said Walker and Stones both playing in the centre. Obviously, he's played right centre back in the back 3 in the last tournament, did Walker, but there needs to be someone with some sort of confidence with them, because as we know, John Stones has a tendency to either run out of position or make a bit of a bollocks of it. Yeah. It's a difficult one to pick. I do think Ben White proved in that Romania game that he's just a bit more calm, a bit more collected on the ball. Tyrone Mings seemed to be a bit erratic all over the place.
The one thing to say the other way, because as much as even though he stayed at Brighton, as a Leeds fan, I do have a massive bias towards Ben White because he was brilliant for us in the team that got us promoted. So I do have a bias towards him. Tyrone Mings does have more experience. He's stronger in the air. Again, this is another Bielsa thing. I do like if it's a back two, I do like a right foot, left foot balance if possible. So I'm okay with it. I would pick Ben White, but and if the difference comes if it's a free and he picks Walker Stones Mings, I'd like that a lot more than Mings in a 2.
See, if it's a back 3, it's Walker, Stones, Shaw.
It could be, given the news, that it wouldn't be for me because Luke Shaw is not a centre back. And I know that he could. I'm sure that he could do a job, but it's Euros. You should be picking someone who's been doing the job.
Yeah.
Walker's different because he's been doing it on and off for years. So that's different.
So other than, Captain Kane, who's definitely number 9 and is playing striker, who are your 2 wingers?
You see, that this is where the issue comes because there's, at least sort of 4 that I think probably deserve to play. I think I'd go Sancho on the right. Basically, Sancho, Grealish, and Foden all have to play, and one of them isn't. is the problem.
They are in my team.
That's where, because that's one thing. The argument for playing Foden in middle, I'm okay with. Sancho and Grealish.
For me, if one of them's going to miss out, I think Sancho misses out, and I think it's Foden Grealish.
You see, don't get me wrong, there are ways around this, but I just think that if you play Foden and Grealish on each side, I don't think you've got a threat in behind. When Kane drops off the front, which he will, because that's what he does. So I think you need someone who is a big part of their game is running in behind. So that's why I pick Sancho.
Yeah. Well, obviously,
I kind of think you either have to pick Sancho on the right or you have to pick Rashford on the left. And of those 2 options at the moment, I think Sancho of the 2.
Yeah, especially with the news coming out that Rashford said as soon as the Euros is done, he's off to go off surgery.
Yeah. It's why there's the argument for just going like straight up 4-2-3-1, and then you can probably pick like Foden as a 10, Grealish left, Sancho right, and Kane.
Yeah,
and you probably drop, and then you'd like the problem is there. You can either drop Mount and play like you'd either have to drop Mount and Bellingham and play Rice and Phillips, or drop just Mount and play Bellingham deep alongside one of Rice or Phillips. This is the thing that's tough with international football. You have to not pick good players. So it's tough. I could go easily either way on the Grealish Foden thing. Foden's absolutely world class, so I can't believe I'm in a situation where I'm saying I probably won't start him because he has to start. But
I mean, look at him. He's turned into 96 Gaza. He's got to start.
He's turned into 96 Gaza. What? Someone who wasn't quick enough to get on the end of a cross, and if he had, we'd have won the tournament.
Don't.
You can't talk. You don't have that level of pain. You were like, were you just alive?
Not born.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, were you alive? I was alive. That's my first really strong, vivid football memories is Euro 96.
See, and mine is probably, I don't know, Rooney stamping on, was it Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Or Mancini? Was it? I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I always forget how young you are. You've got less mental scarring with England than I do. And I've got far less than someone 16, 17 years older than me.
So obviously, we can't do a Euros without talking about all the teams. We can't just talk about England. As much as, football's coming home and that, we've got to talk about
the... It definitely is. 100%.
We've got to talk about the other teams. And some of the other major threats going into this tournament. Archie, obviously, with his comment, already alluded to one. And one that, to be honest, until I saw their record coming into this tournament, I didn't think had that good of a shot of going quite far. But Italy have been absolutely on the tear since Roberto Mancini that's now in charge. They've had, I think they're 7 unbeaten now.
I know they've been in decent form. In fact, it's one of them where I've only really seen highlights of Italy games recently. I can't remember last time I saw a full one, but they are being talked up quite heavily given the record. Obviously, they've got a lot of good players. Like I really like Domenico Berardi, who plays on the right for him. I think he's a really good player. They're not going to lose the ball in midfield much, because you've got Jorginho in there to tick it all over, which does always help. Even an Italy team that isn't the greatest defensive Italy team you'll ever see, it's still Italy. They'll be able to defend.
I mean, you've still got Florenzi on that right in the right back. You've still got Chiellini as your centre back. I mean, they've got fucking Donnarumma in goal, who's absolutely world class, and is off to PSG.
Yeah, alongside Gini Wijnaldum, which doesn't look good for Barca.
Yeah, can't even get players on a free anymore.
Well, they can. I mean, they got, they didn't mess about when it came to getting Aguero, so they still can.
Archie just commented they won all 10 qualifiers and are riding a 27-match unbeaten run.
Yeah, it's decent form, to be fair. I'm just trying to think of things that I don't rate about. I'm like, they've got Locatelli in middle, and he looks really good. What I've seen of him, every time I watch him, he's one where if Leeds suddenly decide they've got a load of money to spend on a midfielder, he'd be right up there. But I think he'll go to someone much higher up than us.
They have had a bit of bad news today. Obviously, Pellegrini's had to pull out of the squad, and they've asked if they can make a replacement 24 hours before their first game against Turkey, which is a shame. But to be honest, their midfield and forwards are quite stacked. Immobile up top, obviously, has been in fine form, but he just doesn't score at me.
What I was going to say is that's my one thing when I look at that squad. Even though they have got really good forward players, I look at Belotti and Immobile as like main centre forwards, and I don't think that's certainly not a guarantee of goals.
Yeah,
even though Immobile scores for fun in Serie A, when he does anything else, it doesn't seem the same.
Yeah, what is it? This will be his 3rd tournament. Last 2 tournaments he went to, he didn't get a single goal. Bearing in mind, one of them is the 2014 World Cup, and he were playing behind Balotelli. He really only came off the bench.
Yeah.
You've then got Insigne on the left, who's absolutely world class. Bernardeschi in behind, who can play off the right, but I think is better suited as a number 10 just in behind that striker, and he's been scoring goals.
Yeah, Federico Chiesa has the ability to win matches as well. He's a really good player.
Yeah, and he has the ability to play both left, right, or as a striker if needs be. We've got another comment here from Archie. Marco Verratti needs to live up to the hype that has been surrounding him. But everyone knows Italy has always been known for their defensive game, and the squad doesn't have much on the back, so they'll need to have a goal-scoring ability to advance.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their defenders now. Like, it's not obviously you've got sort of Chiellini and Bonucci, who were both incredibly experienced. but they're probably not as good as they were a couple of years ago. Bastoni's decent. Acerbi, God, I didn't realise Acerbi was 33 now. He's getting on a bit. It's by the standards of an Italy side, that's not as strong at the back as you would be, but they'll be very well organised. They always are. What's their group? Them, Switzerland, Turkey, and Wales.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they might mess some up and end up finishing second, but there's no actual danger for them, I wouldn't think, in that group. Especially when it's like three qualified, don't there? So,
yeah. My only question about Italy's team is, you just said Immobile and Belotti don't strike you as great strikers. Moise Kean in Ligue 1 has had a fantastic season for PSG and still didn't manage to get into this side. He seems to be more of a goal threat in my eyes than Belotti is.
It's only really for Italy. Like Belotti for Torino has scored shed loads, but it's just when I just don't see him as a top quality striker at international level.
Yeah.
Just while we're on Italy, because we might as well go group by group. Italy, Switzerland, Turkey, Wales. Who do you think finishes bottom and gets knocked out?
It's a toss-up for me. It's only between two. I think it's between Switzerland or Wales. I think Switzerland will come bottom on the basis that Shaqiri's their star man and has barely played this season.
Yeah. I mean, I can't profess to know loads about the Switzerland side. From what I see of the squads, when I look at them on paper, it should be Wales, but I really, really want them to go through. So and Turkey have impressed me the couple of times I've seen them. Like I watched them play against Holland, and they look really good. Like they look like they could cause a lot of trouble for a lot of teams. So on paper, Wales, but I'm going to agree with you and say the team that goes out is Switzerland.
Defensively,
are Switzerland still playing like Seferovic up top? Because I don't particularly rate him.
Yeah, they're playing Seferovic, and I think they're playing Mbolo off the left.
Is he finally fit again?
Yeah, I believe he broke his leg, didn't he, when he first moved to Schalke? I think he then got a move to Mönchengladbach, and I think he is back playing now. If I'm correct in thinking, I think he is in their squad. I think he's playing off the left for them. Defensively, though, you've got to think they've got a decent side defensively. They've got either Jan Sommer or Berkey in goal. They've got Elvedi and Akanji as the two centre backs. They've got Mbabu as a right back.
Yeah, Dennis Zakari is Swiss as well, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's coming off the back of a big knee injury as well.
Ah, right. But yeah, that's it. It's one of those. It's not bad. That's why I said on paper, I do think it's Wales, but I just want them to go through. So I'm going to say Switzerland. Go out.
Yeah. I to be honest, I think Turkey could top this group. I genuinely do. And no, it's not just because Yilmaz at 36 has been banging them in for Lille and winning the league.
No, Çalhanoğlu has the ability to win games. He's a really good player. They've got oh God, what's his name? Ozan, the midfielder. He looks really good as well.
Yeah, they've got Cheng Zungda, who's been on loan at Leicester, and although he's not played a lot when he has played for Leicester, has looked dangerous.
Yeah. It's the Turkey one. It was just this seeing a couple of their games. They really did. Some football they were playing, I thought, made them look like a genuine threat. Ozan Tufan, that's his name. Yeah, he looks really good. At back, I'm not so sure. I mean, Soyuncu's decent. Kabak's good for his age, but I don't think he's there yet. And Demirel doesn't play enough at Juve to be relied on.
Yeah, they've got Erkin at left back. I can't remember where he was originally, but then he had a decent season, moved to Inter Milan, never played for him. He's back in the Turkish league playing with Fenerbahce. He's back playing quite well in that league, by all accounts.
Yeah.
But it is really a case of they've got some decent attacking options, some decent defensive options, and then what? Okay, that was on loan at West Brom in midfield.
Yeah, Yukuşlu looks. He looked quite good at West Brom. Not great, but all right. But it's, as I say, I'm looking forward to this tournament, and I think there could well be a lot of upsets at this tournament, because I've been saying all season, I think the standard of this tournament is going to be crap.
Yeah,
because everyone is knackered. They're all knackered. None of them have had a proper break. And I know it's not like working down a mine, but if you only have to drop by 2%, and it makes a massive difference. And I think there's going to be a lot of that. So I could see there being quite a lot of upsets at this tournament.
Yeah. Group B, and if I'm thinking rightly off the top of my head, is Belgium's group.
It is
I'm
indeed.
having to do this without my iPad, because although we've been live for 40 minutes, it's still not charged.
Yeah, that's not great. Well, Group B is Belgium, Denmark, Finland, and Russia.
I think there's no prizes for guessing everyone's pick for top in this group.
Yeah, the Finns look really good this season. Yeah, I mean, Belgium should win this group. Denmark are like, if you're picking a dark horse, there's a lot of people picking Denmark as the one they think might really go for something in this. And I think they'll go through. I would like Finland to edge out Russia, but I think Finland will come bottom of this. It's the first time they've ever qualified. Teemu Pukki would need to have a really good tournament. Like, I think middle of midfield, Glenn Kamara from Rangers, he's a pretty decent player, but he's in alongside, I think Tim Sparv's still playing in midfield, who must be about 45 years old at this point.
Yeah. Finland are my dark horses to go through as a third place team, because Russia's team it's just an aging population in Russia. It was
old team. It was a very old team in 2018. And most of them are the same players.
Yeah. I just, the only person that isn't there that I still expected him to be playing is their goalkeeper. Is it Akinfeev?
Is Akinfeev not in the squad?
He's not in the squad. They've got 3 different keepers. I think he's retired internationally.
Because Akinfeev, with him being a wonder kid on FM, he'll still only be about 34, 35, because he was really young when he came through. So I thought he'd still be going. 35. Yeah, 35.
Yeah, he was the one name that I was quite shocked to not see in that that Russian side. I've been really shocked.
Sorry,
I've been really shocked to not see him in the Belgian side.
Yeah, he retired in 2018. I just missed it.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things where it kind of got swept under the rug that 2018 was going to be his final tournament.
Yeah.
We have got a comment from Archie saying, how do you think Lukaku will do for Belgium after a stellar season with Inter?
I don't think, if you're looking at top scorer bets, I don't think he's a bad shout.
Yeah, I looked at Sky Bet's prices. They've got Kane at 5-1, and then underneath that is Lukaku at 13-2.
Matt, the only bet I've had in terms of top scorer is I haven't had anything just on top scorer. I did back France to win it and Mbappe to be top scorer at I think at the time it was 33-1. I think it's dropped a bit since.
Yeah. He shocked me actually. His price being so low at being 7-1. But there was one name that I looked at when I looked through the list of players that they had on, and I thought was an incredible shout to be top goal scorer, especially if De Bruyne is not going to be fit for the starting group game. Is Dries Mertens, and he was 66-1 to be top goal scorer.
Well, just on the off chance that they absolutely batter Finland and Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the same way that some people, I think you were one of the ones that mentioned it, in the same way there's a lot of people backing Lewandowski just hoping that he scores 8 in the group stage.
Yeah, at 25-1, how could you not?
Yeah. So are you also going Finland as most likely to get knocked out, or do you think it might be Russia?
Oh, no. Finland are my dark horses to go through third, and
Cool.
Russia to be bottom.
Cool.
Group C, this is testing Netherlands.
Correct.
So Netherlands, North Macedonia,
Yep.
Austria.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'll let you try and get it before I say.
Sweden.
Ukraine. You had the colours
Fuck.
right, though, so I can see how your brain got there. Obviously, look, this on paper, yeah, North Macedonia are going to come bottom, but no, they're going through because Alioski is going to drive them through and drive them into the knockout stages. Also, talking of bets, North Macedonia aren't going to score many. Alioski's like 10-1 to be North Macedonia's top scorer, and he takes penalties.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the worst shout. Obviously, Macedonia's main threat is Goran Pandev, who's about 38, which doesn't help. I'm just going to, because I want them to go through, I'm going to say Ukraine come bottom and get knocked out, even though they've actually been decent. In fact, no, Austria have been crap lately. No, I'm going to say Austria mess it up. Austria come bottom.
Honestly, this is probably me being absolutely stupid and rooting for the underdogs. I think Netherlands come top, and I think North Macedonia go through second.
Well, I hope you're right, but I'm definitely cheering them on to go through. But yeah, I'm going to say Austria are the one that end up coming bottom of this group.
I forgot how many good players North Macedonia actually have. When you stop thinking about it, because they've obviously got Alioski, they've got Pandev, they've got I can't remember what his name is. They've got a midfielder who takes free kicks for Levante.
I don't actually know, but are you after Elgivel Elmas? Because
he's a decent midfielder.
Yeah,
he starts with a B. I cannot remember.
Elmas is really good.
So they have got a few individual talents to try and pull them through. It'd be a lovely story to see North Macedonia, at least get to the knockout stages.
Yeah, first time at a tournament, it's very rare that there's a team qualifies for the first time and you don't want them to get through. But they've got some serious players. Oh, the Levante player, by the way, is Enis Bardi.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. The problem is, I look at that team, there ain't many goals in it. Because you can't rely on Pandev to suddenly be him from 10 years ago again.
You fucking can. 40-year-old Pandev for top scorer. 250-1, by the way, if you want to put that on.
Yeah.
We've had Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, the Dutch have got a good squad, but missing Van Dijk is a big thing. They keep playing Luke de Jong as the main striker, who, although he's a good player, he shouldn't be leading. He shouldn't be like the leading light for a team as big as Netherlands. And I don't rate De Boer as a manager, so I think they'll get through the group easy enough, but I don't think they're going to trouble the late stages.
Yeah, to be honest, if I were Frank De Boer, I'd be looking at Malen, who plays for PSV, to be leading the line, because him, I'm going to say Payet, no, Depay.
Yeah.
And I think, is it Berghuis, who's the right winger?
Oh, Berghuis. I thought you were going to say Bergwijn then, but yeah, Berghuis is a different.
Yeah, Bergwijn hasn't even gone with Netherlands side, which shocked me. We have got a comment. We've got a comment here from Robert Pollis. I think this is going back to the Italian bit. Mancini has converted this team to an attacking style, ball possession type team. Very different to the Italian trans in the past. Yeah, we may not have the big name striker like Mbappe, Lukaku, or Ronaldo, but in a collective team, has slot of weapons. Barella is a dynamite in midfield, voted best Serie A midfielder, and guys like Chiesa, Insigne, and Berardi have had great years. They're a younger midfield, to me, is one of the best in Verratti, Jorginho, and Barella.
Verratti, Jorginho, Barella is a very strong midfield. It has to be said.
Yeah. And then another comment from Archie saying Netherlands is going to be without Van Dijk, but they should still have no trouble winning the group.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do agree. With people, I mean, they've got to back they could have a back three of Ake, De Vrij, and De Ligt, and that's world class centre backs. Even if Ake hasn't played that much for City this year.
World class is a stretch, but they're good.
See, I think De Vries a better centre back than De Ligt, but I think De Ligt has the potential to be better than what De Vries ever been.
Yeah, definitely.
So Group D, I'm right. This is England's group.
It is indeed.
So Scotland bottom,
Czech Republic bottom. Cards on the table. Part Scottish.
Yeah,
I want England to top this group, and I want Scotland to come second. But I genuinely, just purely because I want it to happen, and I do not rate this Czech Republic side at all. I think Czech Republic are coming bottom.
Yeah, there's not a lot going forward for this Czech Republic side. In fact, actually thinking about it,
I mean, they'll have Patrick Schick up front, who is a decent striker, to be fair.
I was going to say the only other person that I could think of is their goalkeeper, that Pavlenka that plays for Werder Bremen. He's a decent keeper, but other than that, I can't really see much threat in that Czech Republic side.
Yeah, obviously we've talked about England and Croatia plenty, so we don't need to say much about them. But England and Croatia should be the top two in this group.
Yeah, it must be a pain in the ass as a Scotland fan to see two world-class players come through your ranks and both be left backs.
Well, it is, but because they play a back three, Tierney will play left centre back and Robertson will play left wing back. So they do get them both in the side, and it gives one of the problems for Scotland is their build-up play is incredibly lopsided because Tierney pushes up from left centre back and Robertson goes up. They're always going down the left. They're very unbalanced. I don't think that I don't think the squad's good enough to do much past that, but I'd love them to get through. John McGinn needs to have a really good tournament if they're going to.
I must admit, I do like the look of a midfield of John McGinn, Scott McTominay.
That's probably what I'd go for, but it wouldn't shock me if McTominay plays right centre back in the three.
Yeah, what next to Liam Cooper?
Hopefully next to Liam Cooper.
Yeah, and they'll tell him about how he skipped past him twice in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thinking about it now, I do think Czech Republic probably do come bottom in this group because I just don't think they've got a lot to offer.
Talk you round.
Yeah. So Group E, before we get to the group of death, this is Sweden's group.
It is indeed.
That's
a weird way to remember it.
Yeah. It was Sweden, Ukraine. I got them the wrong way around. And the only reason I know this is Sweden's group is because I cannot remember anyone else.
Right. Poland, Slovakia, Spain, Sweden.
Yeah. So Poland top.
Yeah, because you're fancying Lewandowski. Spain's a bit weird because we're still not 100% sure what's happening with this breach of COVID. Like, they had the second positive test, which was Diego Llorente of Leeds, but he has since returned 2 negative tests, so they think it might have been a false positive. Obviously, they've got their under-21s off still training, ready to step up, a load of them. And then they've got a group off to the side, which includes Rodrigo, who are staying away from everyone in case they're needed. So that won't help the preparation. Still probably slightly better preparation than the 2018 World Cup, where they sacked the manager like 2 days before it started. So yeah, Spain are a bit all over shop, but they're still, a really, really good side. I still think Spain will win the group. And I was trying to think of a justification for saying anyone other than Slovakia to finish bottom, but I think it will be Slovakia to finish bottom.
Well, the only reason why I'm tempted to not say Slovakia is Ibrahimovic is obviously out with a knee injury. And Sweden have also had some positive COVID tests. Kulusevski has come back with a positive test.
Oh, has it? I didn't know that because I quite like Kulusevski.
And I think Berg as well has come back with a positive test as well.
Yeah. Berg
So
worries me less because I think Alexander Isaac will be the one that plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked at that squad. Is that still Sebastian Larsson in their squad? Is it still that Sebastian Larsson? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, so he's like 36 now. And they picked Andreas Granqvist.
Yeah.
As one at centre backs, who's about 38 and apparently has played about 5 games this season in the second division in Sweden.
Yeah.
And they picked him anyway, which seems like an odd one. But so that I can think of that as reasons, but I think that Sweden will have enough to just edge out Slovakia for that final place.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And then the group of death: Portugal, France, Germany, and Hungary. So Hungary top.
Yep. I do have this weird, because 3 teams go through, I do have this weird feeling that it's not going to be Hungary.
Oh no, I genuinely think Hungary do come third in this group. As strange as it sounds.
I keep thinking France are going to win 2 and draw 1, and Germany will have like a win and 2, and just like Portugal will find a way to mess it up or something. But, like, as it's just predictions, and on this there's no odds, so I'm not playing any odds. I am going to have to say Hungary come bottom. But there's that nagging voice in the back of my head that just keeps saying, just wait. Something's going to happen. Dominic Szoboszlai is going to score a screamer and knock someone out.
I honestly think Germany come bottom of this.
That would be very funny.
One, it would be fucking hilarious for Joachim Löw's final tournament as Germany manager, and they come bottom. I've got this feeling. I don't think they're going to pick up a win against France. I think France are too strong. Portugal have looked really good in their warm-up games, and I think a front 3 of Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, Bruno Fernandes, and that Guedes.
Yeah,
no, not Guedes.
They've got a few options. Like, I mean, they're probably not even going to be playing João Felix.
Yeah,
which is pretty ridiculous for someone who cost 110 million quid. I
just don't see how I don't think Germany's defense can cope with that attack. And then you throw in a bogey team, kind of like South Korea was for Germany in 2018 World Cup of Hungary, and they lose 2 and get a 1-1 draw, but because they've lost so heavy against France, they come bottom.
It's possible. I'm going to have to say Hungary because logically it should be, but it would not be that big a surprise if Hungary pick up a result and manage to sneak through.
No. Right. Actually, so who have you got as your top 2 from that group? Because if we come top, we play whoever's second in that group.
I've got Portugal second in that group.
Right. Yeah. Same. Can't wait for that. So, onto the predictions that I've actually wrote down into the banners. Who do you think the final will be between?
The problem is I haven't looked at how the draw goes.
I've done mine just before we went live. This is me hoping as well, being as optimistic as I possibly can be, and saying it's a Belgium versus England final and Belgium win.
You see, the problem is, as I say, because I have not looked at the draw, I would have to see what is like technically possible. Before looking at that, my head is saying, when I look at all these teams and the squads, France, Spain is what my brain goes to, but again, I haven't looked at what's possible. They might
If
hit each other.
yeah,
They might
if
hit each other
France-
earlier.
if France come top and Spain come top, they don't meet. They can't meet until the final.
Then that's what I'll go for, because that's what I think of when I first see it.
Yeah, because I think if Spain come top and Portugal come second, and Portugal beat us, or if Portugal beat us, they can face Spain in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got Belgium versus England, and I think as the other banner, which is winner of the tournament, I think this is Belgium's golden generation's chance to lift the trophy.
Yeah, it's the boring answer, but France have got the best squad. France.
Yeah,
I've tried to figure out a way to not predict France. I've been trying to talk myself out of it, but I just think that squad's brilliant. I look at some of the players that they've left at home, like, I know he's young, but Camavinga not even being in there, it just seems ridiculous. But Benzema's injured, isn't he? Apparently, he's picked up a knock.
well,
which does put him down to that. Puts him down if he's not at his best, as good as Giroud is. That means we've only got one main centre forward, and that is a recipe for something going wrong.
Yeah, Archie's just commented saying a lot of sports panelists are suggesting France going to the finals. I have a feeling that they'll be upset in the elimination round. Italy's going to win the Euro Cup, and I say that in the most unbiased of ways.
Yeah, in the same way we're all saying England and football's coming up. Although I wouldn't rule Italy out by any stretch. I do think that they're one of the stronger contenders.
See, the thing is, the way that the tournament is structured, Italy will get a decent round of 16, but they have then in their bracket probably got to play Belgium, and then even if they beat Belgium, they've then got to play France.
Yeah, that's why it gets.
And it's just, yeah. So one of the major things that we like to talk about, because Harry Kane won something at the 2018 World Cup. He got the Golden Boot. Who do you think will be the Golden Boot winner this time around?
Well, I said it earlier. I think Kylian Mbappe. I know that he doesn't play as the main central striker most of the time, but because I think they're going all the way, I think he'll score a few in the group, and then they'll pick up a couple more as it goes through.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of like an outside shot that I'd be tempted to go for alongside it. Like but there hasn't been anything that properly jumps out at me. Like, for instance, I think at 50-1, Dominic Oberad is not over worth shouting. It's not a nailed on thing, but I think he'll play enough.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm rooting for Lewandowski to have at least just a decent group stage because I've got him in my fantasy team. So I
haven't done mine yet. I haven't had a chance, but I will do it before the deadline. Who's been taking Germany's penalties?
Ilkay Gundogan.
I thought it was 50-1 on Ilkay Gundogan is not your worst outsider.
No, and to be honest, I've got Germany to finish bottom of that group, so I can't justify picking a German player. No. But Thomas Muller as well. He's known for scoring in tournaments.
Yeah, I'd say my actual shout is Mbappe, but there is a couple of out there shouts you could go for.
Yeah, I think my logical answer is to go Lukaku.
Yeah, very good chance. I'm just going to check one other odd. Who doesn't even come up when you control F him? Is he that low?
Who?
I was looking for Yilmaz. Because I know he's old, but we think Turkey are going to do decent, and he might get a few in group stage.
I believe Sky had him at like 80-1.
Yeah. Ah well, but yeah, he's probably depending. If he's big odds, then he's not a bad shout either.
Archie says, I think it'll come down to Mbappe or Ronaldo, perhaps Kante. My long shot is Lukaku, only because I'm not sure how far Belgium will get. in all honesty, like I said before, if De Bruyne's not fit at 66-1, I think Mertens is a decent shout to just shove a quid on.
Yeah.
Because
Obviously,
he'll end up taking free kicks.
yeah, that's one of the things that you have to look at in tournaments is who takes set pieces, who takes penalties. It's why Ronaldo is always in with a chance, even if they don't get that far.
Yeah. My other outside shot, because he is the lone striker for Spain, is Gerard Moreno.
Yeah, it's weird. The Spain one's weird because a lot of their goals often don't come from the main striker.
Yeah.
It can be a bit weird. There we go. For some reason, they've put an accent on it. That's why Control F doesn't work. Yilmaz is 40s.
That's lower than what I thought it would be.
Yeah. Maybe it's come down a bit.
And I know in the World Cup they call it the Golden Ball. I'm not sure what they call it for the Euros, but the player of the tournament.
It's quite tricky because obviously the player of the tournament doesn't have to come from the team that wins it, but there's always a decent chance that happens. So, like, I do find myself thinking, well, if I think France are winning it and I think Mbappe's top scorer, there's a decent chance for Mbappe in this. But just because it's a winning player of the tournament is quite often being a really good player and everyone likes you. So I'm going to say N'Golo Kante.
That's my call for it. Is probably because of the love that he's been shown after his semi-final performance against Real and then the final against Man City, and everyone falling back in love with this smiling CDM who takes none of the glory, even though he covers every inch of pitch. I just think Kante's too good and too well liked to not either have at least a decent tournament or even been in contention for this player of the tournament.
My sort of outside shot for that, if England have a really good run, Jack Grealish. As much as it pains me, because Jack Grealish is a twat, but he's a great footballer. He's a brilliant footballer. He's just an arsehole.
I don't know if we mentioned it. Well, we did. We talked about the Romania game, but the way that he picked the ball up and he carried the ball in that Romania game did make me think he's showing something here that you don't really get to see from an England side.
The way he played, I think he's so good that I picked him over Foden, I still can't believe I've done that.
Yeah,
because I like Phil Foden way more. But I think the thing is, tournaments like the Euros, because it's so few fixtures, it's quite subject to natural variance. It doesn't take much for something mad to happen, like when Greece won it. Because they were just solid all the way through and it was enough. It doesn't take much. So things like set pieces and that are very important. And no one wins more set pieces in dangerous areas than Jack Grealish. So if England have a really good run, Grealish isn't a bad outside shout to win the player of the tournament.
Yeah. We've been sat here speaking about this for nearly an hour and 10 now. And it's just got me a bit excited now. I can't wait. I want it to be Sunday already. I can't wait to watch that Croatia match.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've got to work during the first game. I'll still be able to watch it, but
yeah, I'm working until I'll probably be back home about 1:45. So I've got 15 minutes to compose myself and get ready. Drink about 4 beers.
Yeah, shut them down. I'm off for the Scotland game though, and I'm off for the Czech Republic game, so I'm good for them. And then I'll see what I can do rest of the tournament. Unfortunately, my job revolves around tennis, and the final's the same day as the Wimbledon final, so we'll see what happens. I should be okay. I should be done with work by the time the final kicks off.
Yeah. And just think about it, Jack. We might be in a year where England win the Euros at the Wembley, and Cast
the
Tigers
Wembley.
win the challenge at the Wembley, and Cast Tigers win the Challenge Cup as well.
Yeah, it'd be great. I hope they do. They're not beating Saints. Not happening.
And about 10 people who watched this got that.
Yep.
But that'll do us for this episode of Stand Your Ground. We will be back on the Monday after the England game. We will be joined by our special guest, which is Adam Crocker, who has recorded the intro for Stand Your Ground for these Euro episodes. Make sure you go and show his Songs of Love on YouTube, and make sure you go purchase it at adamcrockett.herenow.com. As always, make sure that you follow WTBdotcom on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And if you want to hear more of Jack and, well, Casey, who should have been here, but no, I've got a meal. You can go to @MightyWhitesPod, and you can listen to the Mighty Whites podcast live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or the audio version everywhere other than Acast.
Yeah, we haven't done an episode for like a week, like maybe 2 weeks now, because we've both had loads on. But the first one back will be the Mighty Lions pod. Yeah, me and Casey might end up going off into a divergent thing about, flags and things, and try and find a way to pretend that we're from Bermondsey or something. We'll sell it better if we do it like that. But no, I'm really looking forward to the Euros. I've said before, it's weird. I'm not that fussed for international football until there's a tournament, and then it's the best thing.
Yeah. I honestly can't wait. I said this in January last year. I was saying, oh, yes, it's international football this year. I can't wait. Pandemic. Fuck. Euro 2020 in 2021. I've waited a full year for this. I can't wait. Watch us get knocked out in the group stages.
I'm confident we'll do all right. I don't think we're going to win it out, but I think we'll do well enough for it to be a good summer.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. And fingers crossed we've got you hyped for the Euros as well. Obviously, the first game kicks off tomorrow, Italy versus Turkey. Make sure that you watch that, and make sure that you join in on Monday when we review the England game and all the games that have taken place up until that point, and with our special guest, Adam Crockett. So, yeah, I've been Alex. I've been joined by Jack Robshaw.
See you later.
And we'll see you on Monday, guys.